Friends, we can all see that many white bloggers have millions of followers. Please support me too, because my followers are still few. Black bloggers also deserve to be famous. Raised fist medium dark skin tone. My friends, let's unite and lift each other up. Please press subscribe button and like. The night was a masterpiece of opulence and high society. A glittering tableau set within the hallowed halls of the Grand Turner Mansion in Surrey, England. The estate, a sprawling architectural marvel, sat like a polished gem against the velvet backdrop of the English countryside. Its many windows spilled golden light onto the manicured grounds, a beacon of warmth against the cool, creeping night. A river of luxury cars snaked up the long, winding driveway, their headlights carving paths through the encroaching darkness as a steady stream of guests arrived. Inside, the grand dining hall was a study in excess. Crystal chandeliers blazed overhead, casting 1,000 shimmering reflections on the high-gloss floors. Endless tables groaned under the weight of culinary artistry, a feast prepared by the most celebrated chefs Richard Turner could commission. Waiters in crisp, black uniforms navigated the throng with balletic grace, their trays laden with champagne flutes that sparkled like constellations in their hands. Richard Turner, a titan of industry with a name that echoed in the boardrooms of both London and New York, had orchestrated this lavish affair. It was a celebration of his wife, Catherine's birthday, and it spared no expense, gathering his most trusted friends, influential associates, and a smattering of political heavyweights. Richard was a man in his prime, with a commanding presence and a voice that could silence a room, his salt and pepper hair a testament to a life lived in the fast lane. Catherine, draped in a gown the color of sapphire sea, was a very picture of grace and radiance. Her laughter, a melodic chime, danced above the swell of the music as she moved through the crowd, making everyone feel as though they were the only person in the room. She was the heart of the home, a woman whose warmth could disarm even the most timid guest. And tonight, she was truly luminous. Yet, amidst the swirling glamour, a quiet figure moved with an almost ethereal subtlety. Her name was Elena, the family's 28-year-old maid. Her smooth, dark skin and neatly tied-back hair were a study in understated elegance, and her uniform was immaculate. What truly set her apart, however, were her eyes, calm, observant, and missing absolutely nothing. She was a silent sentinel of the household, a ghost in plain sight. Her duties were simple, yet profound. Care for the children, maintain the order of the house, and ensure every detail was perfect. To the Turners, she was a rock of reliability. But to Samuel, a curious and chatterbox of a 10-year-old, and Grace, his shy and sweet 8-year-old sister, Elena was more than a maid. She was their sanctuary, their trusted confidant, the one they sought out when shadows danced in their dreams or the world felt too big. In their young eyes, she was family. As the evening unfolded, Elena led the children upstairs, where they watched the spectacle from a balcony. Grace squeezed Elena's hand, her voice a soft whisper. "You look pretty tonight, Elena." A gentle smile touched Elena's lips. "Thank you, Grace. Now, remember what I said. Stay close. These parties can get a little wild." Samuel, ever the pragmatist, leaned over the railing, his eyes wide with anticipation. "Papa invited so many people. Do you think there will be cake soon?" Elena let out a soft laugh. "There's always cake at a birthday party, Samuel." Below, Richard held his glass high, preparing to make a toast. The room fell into a respectful hush as he spoke with genuine affection about his wife. Her unwavering kindness, her tireless patience, and the strength she had shown through every triumph and tribulation. Tears welled in Catherine's eyes as she watched him, her smile a silent testament to their love. A wave of applause and renewed laughter swept through the room as the music swelled once more. Everything was perfect. No one saw the danger lurking just beyond the mansion's gates. While the driveway brimmed with luxury cars and the halls echoed with the clink of glasses, 3 armed men, shrouded in black and their faces hidden by masks, slipped in through the back. They moved with a predatory silence, their weapons glinting menacingly under the faint glow of the garden lights. With a cold efficiency, they burst inside. The atmosphere shattered instantly. Laughter died on the air. A single, piercing scream sliced through music, followed by the sound of glass shattering on the floor. Panic erupted, a tidal wave that sent guests scattering, tripping over chairs, and scrambling for cover. "Everybody down!" one of the men roared, his gun waving wildly. "Nobody moves or someone gets hurt." The robbers spread out, their voices sharp, their demands for jewelry, watches, and cash cutting through the silence. Richard Turner froze, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs. Catherine, pale with fear, clutched his arm. Nearby, Samuel and Grace let out small, terrified cries, clinging to their mother's gown. Catherine tried to shield them, but terror had rendered her helpless. In the midst of the chaos, Elena did not panic. Her body responded before her mind could even process the threat. She pulled Samuel and Grace close, her voice a calm, steady anchor in the storm. "Stay with me. Do not move. I will keep you safe." The children buried their faces in her arms, clinging to her as if she were a lifeline. One of the robbers spotted her in the corner. "You there," he barked, pointing his gun in her direction. "Bring those kids here." A collective gasp swept through the room. Catherine let out a strangled cry, and Richard shouted, "No! Leave them alone!" His voice cracked with fear, but a robber ignored him, stepping closer. Yet Elena stood her ground, her dark eyes, steady and unflinching, locked with a man's. She didn't shake, she didn't plead, she didn't cry. Her voice, controlled and measured, cut through the tension. "You're nervous," she said slowly. The room went dead silent. "Your hands are shaking. You don't want to hurt anyone tonight. Don't make a mistake." The robber froze, momentarily thrown off by her composure. No one had ever spoken to him like that. The guests stared at Elena in utter disbelief. To them, she was just a quiet maid in the background, yet here she was, speaking with more courage than anyone else in the room. But the robber's patience was wearing thin. One grabbed the guest by the collar, pressing a gun to his temple. "We're not here to play games," he shouted, his voice cracking with rage. "Give us the money or people start dying." A collective whimper of fear rippled through the crowd. Richard's hands trembled as he stammered out an offer of money, anything to make them stop. Catherine held her children tighter, tears streaming down her face. Elena's eyes narrowed. A quiet resolve hardened her expression. She gently positioned the children behind her, shielding them with her own body. When the robber with the gun moved closer, swinging it carelessly toward the crowd, Elena acted. In a single, fluid motion, she lunged forward, seized his wrist, and twisted it sharply. The gun clattered to the floor, and before he could react, she kicked it across the room. Gasps filled the air. No one had ever seen her move with such speed and precision. The second robber rushed her, fury in his eyes. Elena spun, using his own momentum against him, and slammed him onto the polished floor. He groaned in pain, his mask askew. Guests screamed again, not from fear, but from sheer disbelief. The third robber hesitated, his gun raised, but Elena's eyes bore into his. "Don't do it," she warned, her voice a low, commanding rumble. "You won't win tonight." His hands shook. He tried to steady the gun, but Elena was already on him, closing the distance in a heartbeat. She twisted his arm until the weapon fell and shoved him down, pinning him effortlessly in less than a minute. 3 armed men who had terrorized a mansion full of people were left groaning, helpless on the floor. The room was silent, broken only by the heavy, ragged breaths of the frightened guests. Richard stared, his mouth agape. Catherine sobbed quietly, her arms still wrapped around Samuel and Grace, who peeked out at Elena with wide, astonished eyes. Elena stood tall, her composure unbroken. She had just revealed a secret none of them could have ever imagined. She was no ordinary maid. Sirens wailed in the distance, and minutes later, the mansion was flooded with police. Officers dragged the robbers away in handcuffs, still nursing the blows Elena had delivered. Statements were taken, questions were asked, but everyone's story was the same. "She saved us," a guest said in a hushed voice. "She fought them all," another added. "She's not just a maid," Catherine whispered, tears of gratitude running down her cheeks. When the last officer left, the mansion was quiet once more. Broken glass glittered on the floor, and a lingering scent of fear hung in the air, But the Turner family could not look away from Elena. Richard finally spoke, his voice low and filled with awe. "Who are you?" Elena lowered her eyes, a hint of shame in her expression, as if revealing her strength was a mistake. "Before I came here, I served in the United States Army," she said softly. "I was trained for situations like this. I never wanted anyone to know. I came here to live a quiet life, to take care of your children, to find peace after so much war." The room was thick with emotion. Catherine brought a hand to her mouth, her eyes welling with tears. Samuel and Grace clung to Elena's hands, looking up at her with profound sense of wonder. Richard stepped closer, his voice trembling. "You risked your life for us, for my children, for Catherine, for everyone here. You didn't have to. You could have run, but you didn't." Elena shook her head slowly. "I couldn't run. Not with 2 innocent children behind me. Not when I knew I could stop them." Her voice wavered now, the pain of her past barely concealed by her strength. "I've seen too many people die in front of me. I couldn't let it happen again." For a long moment, no one spoke. The few guests who remained looked at her with a newfound respect, their eyes glistening with emotion. She was no longer just a maid in the background. She was a woman who had saved them all. Catherine finally stepped forward and wrapped her arms around Elena in a tight embrace, sobbing against her shoulder. "You're family now," she whispered. "You'll always be family. We owe you everything." Samuel and Grace joined the embrace, their small arms encircling her waist. "You're our hero, Elena," Samuel whispered. Richard's eyes glistened as he placed a hand on her shoulder. "You've taught me something tonight," he said. "I always thought courage was in power, in money, in control. But real courage, it's in sacrifice. It's in love. It's in people like you." That night ended with tears, with profound gratitude, and with a heavy lesson that would forever be etched in the minds of everyone present. They had come for a party, but left with a story they would never forget. Later, Elena sat by herself, her heart heavy but at peace. She had revealed her secret, the life she had so desperately tried to leave behind. But perhaps, she thought, it was a secret that was meant to be shared. The Turner family needed to see her for who she truly was. And the Turner family never again looked at her as just a maid. To them, she became the embodiment of courage and discipline, a woman who risked everything, not for glory, but for the love of 2 children. The story spread in whispers and retellings, how a quiet maid stood against armed robbers and saved a millionaire's family. But to Elena, it was never about fame. It was about protecting what mattered most. And in that, she found her peace. Life went on, but the lesson remained. Sometimes, the people we overlook, the ones we take for granted, hold the greatest strength of all.